Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam. Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullarvindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha. Achaturvadano Brahma Dvibahuraparo Harihi Abhalalochana Shambhu Bhagavan Badarayanaha. Om Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Tujanakatmaja Purato Marutiryasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. Hari Om Suprabhatam. Shri Rama Geeta is a part of Ramayana, and it is more popular as a part of Tulasi Ramayana or Ramcharitmanas. And in Ramcharitmanas, Shri Rama Geeta, that is a conversation between Bhagavan Shri Rama as the Guru and Lakshmana as the disciple, comes in the Aranya Kanda. Whereas this Shri Rama Geeta that we are taking up for our study is a part of Adhyatma Ramayana. Adhyatma Ramayana is written by Bhagavan Shri Vedavyasji. Vedavyasji has written the entire Mahabharata also, which is considered as an Itihasa, a Dharma Shastra, and also Ramayana, which is Adhyatma Ramayana. By the name itself, it is very evident that it is the spiritual aspect of life that is highlighted more, although the events in the life of Sri Rama remain the same, but the spiritual aspects are highlighted. This also has 7 chapters, Balkand, etc., up to Uttarakand. In the Uttarakand, we know Bhagavan Ramchandraji returns from his Vanvas, and then he is crowned as the king. And after a few years of ruling, one point there is also a very famous incident which sometimes also becomes a controversy, and that is some washerman loosely commented on Sita ji's character, her purity, that she is lived in Lanka and he is brought him and keeping him in the palace. Ramchandra ji knew that it was a false allegation. Ramchandra ji knew that this doesn't have any substance. But he had a lot of other questions, a lot of other matters to consider at this juncture. It was not the common popular belief that it is a conflict between the Dharma as a king and Dharma as a husband. It is not just that. Besides that, his extreme love for Sita ji was also a very, very important matter of consideration. And with great indecisiveness, Puja Gurudev has very beautifully presented this entire drama that happened in Sri Rama's mind, this dilemma that what am I supposed to do at this juncture? So he, with great difficulty, arrived at a decision. Immediately he called for Lakshmana and he said that without asking any questions, without discussing anything, just right now take Sita, go to the forest, and near the Valmiki Rishi's ashram, you just drop her off and come back as soon as possible. Lakshmana was shocked. He knew that Sita ji's Agni Pariksha also has been done. In the sense, not because Ramchandra ji needed it, but for the eyes of the world, it all has been done. Then, why this cruel step against Mother Sita? He wanted to say something. Shri Ramji said, I have thought enough, now you take her. So she was taken, left in the forest. She was also shocked, what happened? And Lakshmana returned. After that, of course, Sita ji knew they had all passed that place in the Vanvas. So she went to Valmiki Rishi's ashram, which was very near the place where Lakshmana dropped, and she lived there. She was protected, taken care of, and we know that her sons Lav and Kush, Ramji's sons, were born there in Valmiki Rishi's ashram and were brought up in their childhood there itself. So now, when Lakshmana returned, he saw that Ramchandra ji was just silent. He did not want to talk about this matter at all. And that silence, only till today, people are accusing Ramchandra ji of this, that this is not fair. But the beauty with which Ramchandra ji achieved his goal, nobody even notices. Because he banished, did not really banish, because he sent her to the forest, to Valmiki Rishi's ashram. Today, everyone is blaming and talking about Ramji, and nobody is talking about Sita ji. This is his achievement. This was his extreme love for Sita, that nobody should be able to point a finger at her. I take all the blame. So it completely twisted the situation and also took care of her well-being, the children, everything. It was a master stroke. And we would not understand it. We may still have, but this should not, but that is our limited thinking. We can't comprehend what Bhagavan is doing. And of course, there is also this understanding that if he did not heed this, then this word will keep on spreading and more people will start talking about this. This is how Samaj is. So he had to put an end to it immediately. Now he was taking care of all the duties in the kingdom, surrounded with people all the time. But at some times he used to just sit by himself, contemplative. He used to just spend time alone in silence. Those were some moments when Lakshmana, who was such a great devotee and sevaka of Sri Ramchandra ji, did not leave his side even for a moment. Lakshmana found that these are the times when Bhagavan is just sitting by himself, no pressure of any work, not surrounded by people. That was a time when Lakshmana used to approach Ramchandra ji just to ask some questions, just to have some satsang. And in this manner, these dialogues, this is what is Shri Rama Geeta, one part of this entire conversation. So this whole dialogue in the Puranic literature, as Gurudev very beautifully explains in the introduction, that in the Puranas, knowledge is presented with the medium of stories, and that too as a conversation or a dialogue between two people. So there is one dialogue, and then in that there is another dialogue, in that there is another dialogue. This is the style of the Puranas. Here also, if we find, similar to the Bhagavad Gita, which is very, very popular, Bhagavad Gita, there's a first dialogue opens between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. And within that, there is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Here also, the main dialogue is between Rama and Lakshmana, but it is packaged into another dialogue, and that is between Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. This also very beautifully Gurudev presents that whole scene. Lord Shiva completely absorbed in deep meditation. Mother Parvati constantly serving him. And at some point, he just emerges out of his meditation. With great love looks at this Sevika, the selfless devotee, Mother Parvati, and he is so pleased. He calls her to sit by himself and they talk. Gurudev says very beautifully, Mother Parvati knows that he is a very contemplative person by nature. Therefore, he must have come out of his samadhi. He might go back immediately also. And then when he will come back, we don't know. In Ramcharitmanas, it is said that thousands of years he used to be absorbed. And mother used to serve him. So, Gurudev very beautifully says that this Mother Parvati, whenever he would come out of his meditation, she would ask him questions to keep him with herself. Otherwise, ये तो फिर से चले जाएंगे, ध्यान में बैठ जाएंगे. So, he used to very beautifully, it is said, that she used to ask some questions. And Bhagwan also, with so much of love, used to elaborately explain things, share with her. And this is how so many different Gitas have come about. Shiva Gita, Guru Gita, here Shri Rama Geeta. All these are beautiful as though songs of joy, describing the dialogues between another pair of Guru Shishya, or even giving certain concepts, certain understanding, even telling various stories. So these are all various dialogues between Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. So this also, this Shri Rama Geeta from Adhyatma Ramayana, which is in the Uttara, the 5th chapter of the Uttara, 5th Sarga, the section, forms the Rama Geeta, and it is opening with Bhagwan Mahadeva speaking to Devi Parvati. So we will start with the verses. Shri Mahadeva Uvacha Tato Jagan Mangala Mangalatmana Tato Jagan Mangala Mangalatmana Vidhaya Ramayana Kirtimuttamam Chachara Purva Charitam Raghuttamo Rajarshivaryairabhisevitam yatha Shri Mahadeva Uvacha. Shri Mahadeva, Lord Shiva, he spoke. So we should understand, Mother Parvati has already asked a question in the previous section. What is her question? She asked Bhagwan, this Ramchandraji, see, Bhagwan has come out of meditation. And Parvati ji very well knows that Lord Shiva loves Shri Rama so much. So if you ask a question about his beloved, then he will be happy also and he will share with me also. So she asked, she said, Bhagwan, it is said that Bhagwan Ramchandra ji, following the duty of a king and also out of great love for Mother Sita, she left her in the forest, and after that he came back to his kingdom. He was surrounded by people, so many administration work and so many things are there, and his wife is somewhere in the forest. He must be missing her also. And also, how did he manage? Because if he was missing her, then he had to take care of all the work also, and live his life as a king also. So how did he manage? What happened to him? Everyone is focused on what happened to Sita ji. And says, Sita ji, was she taken care of? Was she safe? Did Valmiki Rishi take care of her? What happened? This everyone was interested in. But what happened to Ram ji? When he came back, it was not easy for him also. See, when we are talking about easy and not easy, and he is missing Sita ji and all these things, we should understand, because he is doing the Leela of a human being. Bhagavan is complete in himself. He doesn't miss anything. He is everything and everyone. So that is not the point. Here the point is, he is playing the role of a human being. He is setting an example. Maryada Purushottama. So therefore, this question is, what happened to him when he returned to the palace? So here, Bhagavan Mahadeva is saying, Tataha, thereafter, when he reached the palace and when he was started living there, how did he live? He says, first he is saying that who was he? Who is this Shri Rama? He said, Jagan Mangala. He is the bestower of auspiciousness to the whole universe. He is that Supreme Lord. Don't mistake him to be an ordinary human being. He is just playing a role. This is just his sport. But actually he is that Supreme Lord who is bestowing auspiciousness to the entire universe. Jagan Mangala. Mangalatmana, wanting to bless the whole universe. So this role he has taken up. For what? Puja Guruji very beautifully puts it. Brahma Paratpar, that Supreme Brahman, Jagat ke Ashray. He is the very substratum of this universe. Sarveshwara Shri Ram. He is the Lord of everyone and everything. Or he is everything and the Lord also. That way Sarveshwara Shri Ram, Manav ko darshane dharma ko, bane Manav Shri Ram. To teach dharma to the human beings, he became a human being and showed this is how you should live. So when he returned, with that will of wanting to bless everyone, Mangalatmana, Ramayana Kirti Muttamam Vidhaya, he established the greatest standard of Ramayana, which is Uttamam Kirti. He himself is that greatest standard of Ramayana. That Lord, what did he do? Chachara. He followed, he lived. What did he live? What did he practice? What did he, what was his life like? He says, Purva Acharitam. He lived a life as his Purvajas, Purva Acharitam. His ancestors also lived like that. Rajarshi Varyaihi Abhisevitam Yatha. The way his ancestors, who were not only Rajas, but they were Raja Rishis, means they were kings and also were great ascetics, tapasvis. So this royal sages in his ancestral lineage, the way they lived an austere life, tapasvi jivan, that tapasvi jivan Bhagavan Shri Rama also lived. Raghuttamaha Chachara. This greatest among the Raghu lineage, this Shri Rama, Chachara. Chachara means he followed. His acharana was as per the austere life of his ancestral Rajarshis. So what it means is, when he came back, he was living in the palace, which was having all facilities and comforts and pleasures. Everything was there. He was living in such comforts, but he was living an austere life. See, not having any comforts and living that kind of life is still easy, because I don't have anything. I don't have a bed, so I sleep on the floor. Now, sleeping on the floor is not a great glorious thing, because I don't have a bed, therefore I am sleeping on the floor. The day I get a bed, I will go on to the bed. But you have every comfort at your disposal. Nobody is going to stop you. You are the king. Not only the king, you are the unrivaled emperor, Chakravarti Samrat. Nobody to even challenge you. Everyone has taken to accept you as their emperor. That kind of king, nothing to stop him from enjoying whatever he wants, in spite of everything being available to be able to live a life of tapas. That is more difficult. Puja Guruji puts it very practically, that not having what is unhealthy for you, it needs vairagya. But having a little bit and stopping needs Mahavairagya. Because you don't have it at all, you don't taste it. So you just, okay, I am not having it. Discipline. Vairagya is required, no doubt. But you taste a little bit, in moderation you have, and then stop. That requires greater Vairagya. Because it is more difficult. Why? Because it is already, you have tasted it. Now that craving can come. The desire can come. Earlier it was not there because you had shut your doors. Now it has come little bit. And then, that is why a life of moderation is more difficult than any extreme. Upavasa. Now Upavasa does not mean not to eat. Upavasa means keeping the mind with the Lord. That is called Upavasa. It is not eating. But eating in moderation also can be Upavasa. But that is more difficult than not eating at all. So I won't eat at all. Why? Because if I go near food, see food, smell food, gone. So don't go there only. That needs little bit of Vairagya. But to be able to eat whatever as much necessary and leave the rest. This is what, it is great tapas. So Ramchandraji was living with all possible comforts. Everything at his disposal, but still lived an austere life. That is how even Bharatji's life was. Bharatji, when he came back with Bhagwan's Padukas, he said, I don't want to enter the capital city. I will stay outside. And he dug a hole. He said, I will live there. Because he said, Ramchandraji is walking on the ground. So for me, even lower than the ground is my position. So I cannot walk at the same level as Bhagwan. That was his devotion. That was his austerity. He also had everything at his disposal. The whole Ayodhya was with him completely. But he said, I want to live an austere life. So similarly here Ramchandraji also lived an austere life. In those days, for a king also to remarry or marry many times was not considered wrong. But he said, my Sita is there. I will live a life of a tapasvi in the form of a king. That is why Tulsidas ji tells Hanumanji that Hanumanji, you are really great. Why? Because serving someone who is indulgent is very easy. Because that person is also indulgent. He is into sense pleasure. So the servant also will get everything. And servant also, okay, yeah, you also enjoy. I am also enjoying. The master will say, I enjoy, you enjoy, let's enjoy together. That is easier. But what did he say? Tulsidas ji says, Hanumanji, Sab par Ram tapasvi raja, tinke kaaj sakal tum saja. You are the sevaka of that Raja who was a tapasvi Raja. And that tapasvi Raja himself being a tapasvi, the sevaka has to be a greater tapasvi. Only then you can do seva of a tapasvi. Otherwise you can't do. Otherwise he only will have to do our seva. Sevak, Maharaj, get up. It is morning. Tea is ready. You have. Yeah. Sorry, Swami, I am coming. Leave it outside on the table, I will come and take it. Don't worry. So then that tapasvi only will have to do our seva. That is why here Bhagavan, here Bhagavan Mahadeva is saying that he lived an austere life like his ancestors, and he was never attached, never got caught up in anything, but he was performing all his duties diligently, no compromise in duties. Anything required, he was constantly available, but he lived an austere life. Acha. Now, then once in a while there were occasions where Lakshmana used to ask some questions to Bhagavan. So that also Bhagavan Mahadev mentions. He says, Saumitrina prishta udara buddhina Ramah kathah praha puratani shubhaha Rajñah pramattasya nrigasya shapato dvijasya tiryaktvamathaha raghavaha Saumitrina prishtaha udara buddhina. Udara buddhina Saumitrina. Saumitri is a name of Lakshmana, the son of Sumitra. How was Lakshmanji? Udara buddhi. Udara buddhi does not just mean a generous person. Udara buddhi means who has vast knowledge and is able to be accommodative. See, the one who is serving the Lord, that person has to be accommodative. You can't say, I am alone the sevak, you all go away, you all go, I will only do this. If you push away the other sevaks, then Bhagavan will not like it. Udara buddhina. His knowledge was also very wide. So this kind of large-hearted Udara buddhi Lakshmana, Saumitri, son of Sumitra, Prishtaha, having been asked by this large-hearted Lakshmana, Ramaha kathaha praha. Rama narrated many stories, kathaha praha. Many stories he narrated to Lakshmana. Having been asked, Lakshmana raised some questions and Ramchandraji narrated many stories. What kind of stories? Puratanihi kathaha. Many old ancient stories from the Puranas, Itihasa, old stories, all that he narrated. Shubhaha, and all these stories, what kind of stories they were? They were most auspicious. Auspicious means those stories which take us from ignorance to knowledge, which take us from darkness to light, which take us from bondage to liberation. That kind of Shubha. So that kind of stories he narrated to Lakshmana. And specifically here, Lord Shiva is mentioning about one particular story. He is saying, Pramattasya Rajñah Nrigasya. This Raja called Nriga. Nriga is his name. One king Nriga was there, who was Pramatta, means due to his inadvertence, what happens? Dvijasya Shapataha. He was cursed by a Brahmin. Because of his inadvertence, he was cursed by a Brahmin, and Tiryaktwamaha Raghavaha, and as a result, he became an animal. Tiryak means that which is horizontal. We all walk like this. This is human being. Tiryak means those which are horizontal. Now see, this way when a human being is walking or standing, highest position is of the intellect, buddhi. Thought, knowledge, that's the highest. Then comes the heart. Heart is the feelings, emotions, relationships. Then comes the stomach, food, our own enjoyment or just sustenance of the body. And then comes the genital organs, procreation, reproduction, etc. So all this is in a sequence. So when we are, so it is symbolically what we give most importance to is knowledge. Now when we see Tiryak, 1, 2, 3, 4, all equal. For an animal's life is, there is no priority. Everything is equal only. Anything you do, everything is okay. And therefore an animal is programmed. You need to be programmed, because then you will work according to the program. Otherwise, things can go haywire. Here, there is something, but here also things are going haywire only. Because we are always doing Shirsasana. So here, Bhagavan Mahadeva is saying that especially Ramji talked about one story of this King Nriga, who was inadvertent due to his carelessness. What happened? He was cursed by a Brahmana and he became an animal. Means he had to suffer being an animal for a long time. And after that, eventually he got liberated. So Raghava, this Raghava, Shri Rama, narrated this story. Now, so what is this story? Who is this King Nriga? So, in some previous kalpa, Bhagavan Mahadeva also must have narrated to Parvati Devi, and here Ramchandra ji is narrating to Lakshman ji. So here, in some previous kalpa, see, all this time works in a cycle. So there is Satyuga, then Treta Yuga, then Dwapar Yuga, then Kali Yuga, then again cycle, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. So now, in some previous kalpa, at the time of Krishna avatar, this story is there. So Shri Rama told that this Krishna had so many queens and so many sons and grandsons, and it was a huge family. It was a city, not just a family. So it was such a huge family. There are some instances that one of his grandsons, he got lost, and this family did not know that one of the grandson is lost. There is a description in Bhagavad. Aniruddha got lost, and people are saying nobody knew. Then Naradji came and informed Bhagavan, you know, one of your grandsons is not here, he is lost. Then they all started looking for him. Yes, indeed he is lost. Then somebody had kidnapped him, so then they went and got him back. So all these very amusing stories are there. So now during this Krishna's time in Dwaraka, this thing happened. So many sons were there. So some of his sons, they all had gone to just roam around, wander around, and they went to a forest. All brothers, Krishna's sons. Now when they went into the forest, they saw a well. And when they peeped into the well, they saw it was quite deep, but there was no water. And there was one big, huge lizard or chameleon or whatever, long monitor lizard, whatever. It was a big lizard was there inside. Now, that lizard was like as though looking up, I am trapped in this well, now how will I come out? So he was just looking up. So then looking into his eyes, then these boys, they felt compassion. They said, let us take him out. They tried so much. It was a deep well. So they tried and tried and tried. They could not succeed. And they felt very bad. So they went back and told their father. They said, our father is capable, Krishna. Only you come. So he came, Krishna came, and he saw. Now he knew who that was. And then Krishna, what he did was, he bent down, put his long hand inside, and was just holding him to pull out. But just by the touch of Sri Krishna, suddenly that lizard or chameleon became a big celestial being, some Divya Swarupa, decked in silken clothes and golden ornaments. He rose up and he prostrated to Lord Krishna and thanked him to have freed him from this curse and suffering. So then Sri Krishna asked him, "Who are you and how did you land up here? Tell me about yourself." Krishna knew very well, but his sons were there with him. So he wanted to also let them know who he was. So then he said, "O Lord, I was King Nriga. I used to rule over a very, very prosperous kingdom, and I was very well off. I did so much of charity, so much of yajna, I supported and served my subjects. All the praja was very, very happy under my rule. But once some carelessness happened. Pramatta. What happened? Once what happened was, I was distributing cows to the Brahmanas in one yajna. Now this charity, when it is given, it is not that useless things you give away and nice things you keep. So he used to give the best quality cows, who are giving a lot of milk, who are healthy, young, such kind of cows. And not just cows, the horns were gold plated, their hoofs were silver plated, they had a silken garment studded with stones and gems. So like that, cows used to be given to the Brahmanas, and real needy Brahmanas, not the ones who are gathering more and more and keeping for themselves. The real needy ones, who are really sattvic and tejasvi and had lot of knowledge also, and they needed these. So he used to give to all these people these gifts. Once what happened was, we can't totally call it was his fault, but one of the Brahmanas was given a few cows, and of those few cows, when the Brahmana was taking them, one of them came back and entered his Goshala back, which was given. It somehow strayed away and came and re-entered his Goshala, the king's Goshala. Now this gifting was continuing. So another Brahmana came, and in his gift this cow also was included. Now this cow was given to that one Brahmana, and then now it came back, then it was again gifted to another one. So the same cow given to two people at the same time. Now that earlier one, he got angry and he said, "How dare you do this? This is wrong." Now it was not his fault as such. He did not do anything. There was no intention or anything. He was very pure, but attention was not paid. There was a little bit of carelessness. He was also not paying attention. His team was also not paying attention. So there is, and king is responsible for anything. So if I am doing in my area, if something wrong is happening, I am held responsible even if I am not intending to do anything, even then. So here that Brahmana said, you gave me, then it became mine, and then how can you give it to someone else? And this Brahmana said, "I have received it from you, so this is mine." So now you can't take back your gift. That is also not right. It's a sin to take back whatever you have given away. So it is not right. Now both of them started fighting, and they were blaming the king that it is your fault. How did you do this? Now the king understood that this was his carelessness. He took responsibility. He said, "Yes, mistake committed by me, I accept. I will compensate this by giving you 100 cows, 1,000 cows, okay, 1 lakh cows each. I will give to both of you. Please forgive me. I have committed this mistake. Yes, it was my carelessness. I own it up. But please forgive me. I will give you 100,000 cows each. Please forgive me. They said, we are not greedy people. We only follow the scriptures. And this is a grave mistake you have committed. So that older Brahmana who received the gift first, he cursed him. That you are so careless and just lying around like a chameleon and changing colors, giving it to me, then giving it to him. So you become a chameleon, you become a lizard. Then he pleaded and all. When he said, I pleaded, then that Brahmana also calmed down and he said, okay, Bhagavan Shri Krishna will come and liberate you. Go. Now, when he says, when I died, Yamraj saw my all accounts of karma. He said, no, exceptionally good. Such good records we have never seen. But what is this big sin in between? What happened? What's wrong? You will have to suffer. But because you have done such good deeds, you will get a choice. So Yamraj said, this Nriga is telling Shri Krishna and his sons. Yamraj said, you can choose whether you want to suffer the pains of your sin first or enjoy the pleasures of your good deeds first. You choose. The sequence you can choose, but you will get both. This also implies very clearly that one wrong deed doesn't get cancelled by another good deed. मैंने गलती की, अभी मैंने दूसरा अच्छा काम कर दिया तो गलती कैंसिल हो गई, कैंसिल नहीं होता. I will have to go through the result of both. But in this case, King Nriga got a choice. First this or that. The king said, I will take the pain first. Because once I get used to pleasure, then that pain will be more painful. So I will take the pain first. Then whatever rest of the result you want to give, you give. So he said, since then I have been in this well as a lizard, not finding much food also, just living here and just waiting for you to come and liberate me. So I was just thinking about you. And this liberation, because it was the touch of the Lord, instantly his karma of sins got over and instantly he became a divine being, because now he started getting the results of his good deeds. Instantly changed. So this story narrated by Nriga to Krishna and his sons was narrated by Shri Rama to Lakshmana, was narrated by Shivji to Parvati. And said that this was one of the stories of the many stories which Shri Rama narrated to Lakshmana. Now, the question is why? Why this story? What is the... A request to everyone, whenever we have questions, let us not impulsively ask. There is and I have already explained this part. I will repeat it. But if any question is there, I was going to say that at the end of the class, but I am saying it now. Please write it and put it here before the next class, we will take it up. As I said, previous kalpa, cycles, so Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, Kali Yug, Again Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, Kali Yug. So one Kalpa Krishna avatar happened, then next Kalpa Rama avatar can happen afterwards. No, that only I said. Yes. So this story, what does it indicate? Why did Ramchandra ji bring this up? He is himself explaining in the further verses, but just for us to understand that in spite of performing the best of actions, one cannot guarantee liberation. One cannot guarantee completely freedom from sorrow. It can come with small, and this is like King Nriga. It was not even anything that he did. It was a cow which came back. Now, nobody did that. But he had to take responsibility. So, the point is this pramada was also punished. But it is not just that. Even if we keep on doing good deeds also, that is not going to liberate us, because the good deeds will have good results, and that good results again will keep on binding us. So here Ramchandra ji is telling Lakshmana through these stories that just by mere action one cannot get liberated. It is not possible. So Bhagwan narrated this story, and Lord Shiva said such kind of many stories Bhagwan narrated to Lakshmana. Then after that, now the main dialogue has to take place. Lord Shiva said many times like this, some conversations used to happen, but once, whenever you want to say something, some regular things are going on, but once what happened, ek bar, like that. So that is what is the main story begins. So verse number 3, kadachidekanta upasthitam prabhum Ramam Ramalalita Pankajam Saumitrirāsādita Shuddha Bhavanaha Saumitrirāsādita Shuddha Bhavanaha Pranamya Bhaktya Vinayan Vito Abravīt. Kadachit, once upon a time. What happened? That once upon a time, this Ramchandra ji was sitting alone. Ekante upasthitam Ramam. Ramchandra ji was just in solitude. He was just sitting, maybe in the garden under a tree or something. He was just sitting, relaxed. No work, nobody around him. Who is he? Ramchandra ji? Prabhu. Prabhu means Sarva Samartha. He can do whatever he wants to do. That Prabhu. Now he is in the form of Ramchandra ji. Rama Lalita Pada Pankajam. Beautiful adjective. Who is he? The one whose feet are served and massaged by none other than Devi Lakshmi herself. So this Mahavishnu, he in this form of Shri Rama is seated in solitude, and finding him in solitude, what happened? Saumitrihi, this Sumitra Nandana Lakshmana, who is Asadita Shuddha Bhavanaha, the one who has Asadita attained Shuddha Bhavanaha, purity of mind. How is purity of mind gained? Through service, through offering all actions and duties to the Lord as his worship. So through seva comes purity of mind. So he is, Lakshmana is who? Asadita Shuddha Bhavanaha, means the one who has gained a lot of purity of mind. How? By constantly serving Shri Ram. It is said 14 years of his exile, Lakshmanji was at his service. He did not sleep nor did he eat. His mother Sumitra Devi, again, mother's greatness only is reflected in the greatness of the son. Sumitra, Ramchandraji told Lakshmanji that if you want to come with me to the forest, you should have permission from your mother. I can't take you otherwise. So then he ran and he had some fear, what if my mother refuses? So he went, stood there, stunned. He could not even speak. Before he asked, his mother said, I heard that Rama is going to the forest for 14 years. What happened? Mike. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Check. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. कदाचिदेकान्ते उपस्थितं प्रभुं रामं रमालालितपङ्कजं. Seeing Lord Rama available, sitting relaxed in solitude, Saumitri, the son of Sumitra, Asadita Shuddha Bhavanaha, he, having gained purity of heart through constant service. What kind of service? When he went to his mother seeking permission, before even he asked a question, Sumitra ji said, I heard Ramchandra ji is going to the forest and Sita ji is also going along for 14 years. If they both are not here, what work do you have here? Go. You should also go. Wherever Ramji is, there is Ayodhya. Go and serve them. That's all. So Ramji is your father, Sita ji is your mother, and the forest is your Ayodhya. Go and serve them. And not even in your dreams have any negative feeling for your brother, for Shri Rama. Not even in your dreams. Now he was that great lady's son. So he said, I will have ill feelings only if I have dreams. And I will have dreams only if I sleep. So I won't sleep. And I will feel sleepy only if I eat. So I won't eat. 14 years. No eating, no sleeping, just in service. Bhagavan used to lie down. There are certain places where it is very clearly indicated Bhagavan used to lie down, and Lakshmanji in some little bit away from him used to keep bow and arrow ready. In Veerasan he used to spend the entire night just guarding. And then morning, again, back to work. That is how he has served 14 long years. This kind of seva, complete dedication, totally Shuddha bhavanaha asaditaha. His mind was so pure, so much in tune with the Lord. Service actually tunes up our mind to the Lord. Bhaktya pranamya, having bowed down, saluted with lot of devotion, Vinayanvitaha abravit. Lakshmana spoke with great humility. He spoke. So he is going to now ask something. So now what did he speak? What did he ask? And what was the reply of Sri Ramchandra ji? That is what is Shri Rama Geeta. So we will take it up in the next class tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.